Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Houston Kilby YouTube channel. We're sitting in front of the GTO and my name is Houston Kilby, and boy do we have an episode to talk about today. Project X. This is kind of a hot topic right now on Facebook and Instagram. It's getting a lot of heated comments. If you're not quite sure what Project X is, let me give you a little bit of history behind this car. It is a 1957 Chevrolet. This is kind of like Hot Rod's project car. This is Hot Rod Magazine, that is, and they've had this car since 1965, and it's been in the magazine since then too. So it's the same car. It constantly goes through different concepts, constantly goes through different upgrades, different engine combinations. I mean, all kinds of high performance parts have been on this particular car for several years now. And I mean, heck, even when I was a kid, I remember seeing it in Hot Rod Magazine, them doing different things with it. So this is a pretty iconic car here. But what all the fuss is about is they have electric motor swapped this thing. Now I'm gonna get into a lot of specs of this, and that way you guys can kind of understand what my opinion is on this and where I kind of see this going. So first up, episode 1 is now up on this build. So right now, currently the car is at SEMA. They built this car in 30 days, which reality, they did an engine swap in 30 days is what they done. The most recent kind of upgrade that they done to this car, they took an LS motor with a Roots blower on it, and they LS swapped this car. Okay, and so they done the whole Roots blower theme. It gave it the whole Pro Street look, and the car has kind of had a Pro Street look for a long time, and that's kind of what the main look of the car most people enjoy with it. Okay, so they went LS with it, and it kind of had some hubbubs there, people being kind of upset they went LS platform instead of a traditional small block or a big block in it. But to me, that really wasn't that big a deal. But now they've went electric with it. They've got General Motors on board. Okay, so Chevrolet came on board with them, and they're like, they wanted to put their EV hot rod performance package in this thing. That's what they're calling it. And this setup, I'm gonna give some specs on it so you guys can kind of understand what kind of power, what kind of torque this thing is. The type of power this thing has got, it's got 340 horsepower with 325 foot-pounds of torque. Right out of the box, when I heard this number, when I heard it just had 350 horse, this is where some of the cons started, for me, started kind of hitting it home. So just to kind of give y'all a comparison, 340 horsepower with 325 foot-pounds of torque. Let's compare that to like pretty much a stock small block 350 that you can buy from Jegs, just a straight up basic crate motor. Stock 350 from them, it makes like 330 horsepower at 380 foot-pounds of torque. And those motors cost about $3,000, right around that ballpark there. So to me, that kind of stuck me a little bit, and I was like, well, maybe the episode would get a little bit better. You know, I kept watching, see what was going to happen here. Some other tech things that needs to be understood about this car. The batteries alone for this electric motor swap weighs 700 pounds, okay? They do not give the weight of what the actual motor costs and what all of the electrical components that's got to go with that engine, what that weighs as well. They do give us a little bit of tidbit information in the Motor Trend article that was done on it. I'll post the link to that down below in the description as well. But that article just kind of briefly describes that even after pulling out the motor, this is the blower motor, okay, an LS motor, aluminum heads, the transmission, the driveline, and the fuel cell, and all the accessories that goes with a gas-powered engine, when they replaced it with all the electrical stuff, at the end of the day, it still weighed the same amount as what it did before. They said it was very close to the same amount. So I assume that probably means within 100 pounds, okay? The batteries alone for this package weighs 700 pounds, and they put the battery pack in the trunk compartment. They cut the trunk open, And basically what they do is they beef up the frame area there, make some beefier mounts for it, and it's basically kind of mounted in the same spot the fuel cell was, and it sticks up in the trunk some. This wasn't like a huge negative factor to me. There's already a lot of space in a 57 trunk and stuff, but still at the same time, you lose a lot of trunk space, and now you've got a 700-pound battery weight that's in the trunk of your car. Oh my God, that's a lot of weight, guys. A lot of weight, especially when it comes to how much power this engine makes. And for me, I believe that's like kind of the breaking point of the negativity of this build. I feel like Chevrolet and Hot Rod kind of dropped the ball on this. I love both companies by all means. I'm not smack talking them, but I feel like with Ford and Tesla out there pushing the limits on how fast electrical cars are right now, I kind of feel like they don't need to call this the Hot Rodders package, in my opinion. Another tidbit that probably need to be said here is this particular package, they did not use a transmission with this package. They bolted up directly from the end of the electric motor, literally with a drive shaft, all the way to the rear end. Okay, so I felt like that's some important information to know because of some of the other technical information I'm going to talk later on in the video. So that's kind of an important thing right there. So again, there's no transmission in the 57 Chevrolet now. They're controlling the RPMs of the motor, and they're controlling everything electronically, and they're just ramping in the speed and the power. Okay, they do not dyno this thing in the first episode. I'm curious to see in the second episode. Now it's been the SEMA. Now they can get that off of their shoulders that they've got the build there and it worked and all that stuff. And at least it was able to show up with it. So now it's time to really get nitty gritty. I'd love to see what the weight of this thing is finally going to be, and I definitely want to see what this thing is going to do on the dyno. Unfortunately, they do not give us any numbers to go off of what this Chevrolet Performance package is going to cost. I have a feeling they're probably going to release it at SEMA. People probably already know what it is. I'm kind of curious to see what it is, but as soon as I find out, I'll put that in the description as well. But I'm gonna give you guys some examples here so you guys can kind of understand where I'm kind of thinking the price tag is going to be at, just because of what all the other competitors are doing right now. So I'm gonna start with Tesla. Tesla is offering a performance package now. It comes with the motor and the transmission. It is right now retailing right around $12,000. It's just the motor and the trans. It doesn't include the electronics to control it, and it does not include the batteries. The best price I can find on batteries, if you go on eBay and you find Tesla batteries, you're looking around $10,000 all day long. Okay, so that's kind of some information to kind of go by what you're kind of seeing with Tesla. Their selling point is their motor is making a whopping 533 horsepower at 800 foot-pounds of torque. So to me, Tesla is still kind of smacking around Chevrolet a little bit with their power and torque ratio here. But Tesla's been doing it for a while now and been pretty successful with their electric program, of course. But so let's move on into Ford. If you haven't heard or haven't been watching or not part of the racing community or watching anything on Facebook type of stuff, I get it. But Ford kind of made some leaps and bounds here this past year, especially over the summer with their new Cobra Jet. I'll slap some video of that deal up here as well. This thing weighs in at 5,000 pounds and ran 170 some mile an hour at 8.12 in the quarter. And that's pretty impressive. It's the world's fastest full-size door car that's electric powered. That's pretty impressive. But when I got to looking into the money of it, trying to figure out, is this package available to the public yet? No, it's not there yet. They're throwing a ton of money at this thing. They're trying to, they want that record, and they got the record as of right now. But they're also doing a ton of research and development. Just from my digging on the interwebs, just the water-cooled inverters, okay, that's on this thing, and there's 4 of them. Each one is over $13 $1,000 for each one. That's just the water-cooled inverters. Okay, that's not the rest of the controllers. That's not the ECU. That's not the transmission. That's not the motors. This thing also has 4 motors on it as well, 4 electric motors, and everything on the Mustang is super nice. Like, it's like definitely race car, hot rod approved with it, and it's electrical, but it's super fast. But so the possibilities and the potential is definitely there of these things going wicked fast. We've known this. If you're in the RC world and like racing RC cars, if you've ever raced your nitro car against an electric car, you'll know exactly where I'm coming from on this. Definitely electric cars will be the future if they ever get the battery situation figured out and what actually powers these motors, okay? But right now, this 5,000 pound Mustang running low 8s, that's crazy impressive. Imagine what it would do if it was like 2,400 pounds. That'd be pretty crazy. Anyways, moving on here. Ford also offers, I felt like this would be a good comparison as well. They offer another engine that they just put in their F100. They've got an old school truck that they've done a build on. It's like a SEMA build truck. And they put one of their EV motors in it. And this thing makes like 280 some horsepower, right around in there. And this thing comes in at $3,900 just for the motor. It doesn't include the battery and the drives and all that stuff. So all these things being said, I felt like those numbers there would be a very good comparison, so you just understand, okay, what price tags are we looking at for this electrical stuff? What price tag are we looking at making what kind of power and stuff, and is it worth it, is it not worth it, okay? And so that kind of gets us into the next segment of this video. I know I'm throwing a lot of information to you guys here, but I'm kind of excited to talk about this stuff because it's getting a lot of sparks, and I feel like there's a lot of information out there it's not known, and this is some good stuff. Okay, when it comes to charging your electric car, there is some very misunderstood information out there. So I've been doing a lot of digging, been talking to people who own Teslas and stuff. I currently don't know anyone that owns any Chevrolet Volts or anything like that, but I do know some people that own some Teslas, and getting some information from them, I felt like this would be helpful to the folks at home. So to charge these things, you can charge it on a 110 outlet, okay? For us in America, that's basically your outlet on your front porch, the outlet you plug your cell phone into to charge it. That's what kind of outlet we're talking about here. You can charge it on that thing, and let me tell you folks, it's got some serious charging time on this deal. Okay, so I've got my notes here. I gotta look back at this deal. On the 110 mobile charger, you're looking at, on a full charge, all right, this is a car that's completely run out of all of its juice, you're looking at 80 hours of charging time before it's finally up at its maximum. Okay, so that's the basic 110 charger that you can plug into anywhere. Like if you're out in front of Chick-fil-A or something like that and they don't have a Tesla charger, you can plug that in and you can start charging your car back up. Okay, next up, they've got their like 220 outlet. That's like what you would plug in your washer and dryer, your air compressor, or something like, or a welder in, like a TIG welder or something like that. They use like a 50 to 60 amp circuit on that deal. That deal charge takes about 11 hours for a full charge, and still that's a pretty long time for a full charge. From everyone that I've talked to, they basically, everywhere they go, they try to charge up where they can, when they can. They try not to let it get under half full, or meaning half charge, and that way they can keep this thing, charged up. But you got to be careful on how far a distance you drive in it and that sort of thing. So, not talking negative to Tesla by no means. They got a cool car, they got a cool concept that's going on there. But this is just kind of some information to give you of stuff that I've found out to go along with this Project X build, okay? So they haven't released any information on what that thing is going to take to charge it, but Tesla's been doing it for a while. We can kind of assume it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark there as of right now. Could be wrong, depending on what kind of battery packs they got and that sort of thing. Okie dokie. So I felt like at this time it would be a really good time to talk about, when you plug in your extension cord, where does that power come from? And why I'm getting into this subject in this video is because of the amount of talk about how green these cars are and how good they're supposed to be for the environment and that sort of thing. And I feel like a lot of this is kind of it's a little bit of cloak and dagger type stuff. And there's some information that I didn't know that I felt like would be very, very useful for people at home. So you can look this stuff up. This is literally just, you know, a lot of stuff comes from the EPA, a lot of stuff comes from government websites and that sort of thing. So take this how you want to take it. All right, so the majority of our power that feeds our electrical grid in America, okay, as a whole, you're looking at natural gas being 40% of that power supply. Okay, so what's happened over the years is a lot of your coal burner plants have now converted into natural gas, and that's why that number is so large now. And there's still a lot of coal burners still left and stuff. They make up about 20% of the power. That's in second place, and also nuclear power makes up about 20% as well. Again, you know, that's as of right now. I see nuclear power probably getting a little bit more in there in upcoming years as they replace plants and build new ones and that sort of thing. But next up at 7% is like dam power. That's like turning water. You know, that kind of surprised me that number was so low because of how many dams there is and stuff. But you've got a lot of states that don't have those capabilities, so I can kind of see that, I guess. Next up, you've got wind power and solar power. Solar power is pretty pitiful right now. It's only at like 2% that makes up, you know, America's energy, you know, source and stuff. So, I mean, to me, when you've got an electric car and stuff, you got to think about how green you actually are because of where the power is actually coming from. And to me, it just doesn't feel like we're quite all the way green there yet. You know, we got a lot of problems with natural gas. We got problems with coal burners, of course, and nuclear power as well. So, I mean, it's not like this is like the perfect, completely green solution and stuff that it kind of is painted by our government and EPA and everyone else because of how bad they hate motors like what's sitting behind us here. Big old cubic inch motors that puts out a lot of power. They don't like it. But all these things being said, to kind of end out this video here, I know a lot of these things are kind of negative and kind of like, oh man, this is such a horrible thing that's going on. It's not really. I'm glad that they're doing it, you know what I mean? But it's also good to kind of understand how green this really is, how much performance this actually makes, and what our end result is type deal. And to kind of finish this video off here, I figured I'd give my point of view and my opinion on what I believe we should do for the future. In my opinion, from what I see and what I think would be the most cost-effective thing to do for renewable energy is, and also create more jobs, I think that's got to do with corn fuels. It's got to do with biofuels, sugarcane fuels. What I mean by that is ethanol, alcohol, methanol, that sort of thing. You can make those types of fuels from a lot of different stuff, and you can grow it. In America right now, jobs is kind of really rough. Farming is kind of really rough. And I feel like we need jobs that creates a lot of jobs and not just a couple of things here, a couple of things there, and it just doesn't seem sustainable of the type of jobs that we've kind of got going on right now. I want to see us grow. I want to see us do better. And of course, if we can find a better method of making fuel or making some sort of power source, I'm all about it. I want to go faster. I want to be more effective. And when I go camping, I want to keep the trees there. You know what I'm saying? So to kind of round this out, I feel like, you know, the ethanols would be a better choice for us and a better road for us to go down because of how reproducible that it is. You grow it, you ferment it, now you've got some fuel. And yes, there's more processes and steps in there, but I'm giving you a rough idea of how this works here. When it comes to land and stuff, I know a lot of people's like, man, Houston, there's not a lot of farmland left and this, that, and the other. Oh yeah, there is. And on top of that, I've got a simple solution. My dad came up with this several years ago. It's very, very simple. It's almost stupid simple, but it would work. All that grass and all that land that's in our medians, it's in between our interstates and on the sides of the roads on our interstates and stuff that our government owns and states own and that sort of thing, that would be really good cropland. Just saying. We're already mowing it. Why not put something on it that our states can make some money with and can pay some people, and we would have some jobs there. Let's farm it. We're not going to eat that corn that's growing there on that interstate anyways, so let's try to do something with it and try to make something happen. But anyways, guys, I know this is a long video, but there's a ton of information here. I love the comments I'm seeing on Facebook. There's a lot of love for the Project X car. There's a lot of hate for the Project X car. Tell me your opinion down below. I'd love to hear it. And also, if you've got a solution to fix some of these problems we got, it's good to get people talking, and it's good to get the community involved in stuff that's going on and stuff. So again, comment down below. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, and heck, call me out. If you see something I said that's wrong, or you hate it or whatever, let me know. Make sure you go and hit that subscribe button. That helps us out a ton. If you haven't already, go pick yourself up a Full Metal Goat t-shirt. I got one of those hanging from the car right there. Those things help build this thing, and definitely you can support your local race car guy. But anyways, that's it for me. Y'all have a good one. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to go over to KillerMotorsports.com, where we've got all kinds of merch over there and all kinds of high performance products as well. And definitely a big shout out to our sponsors and partners. Till next time, you guys have a good one.